The Most High has sent you to a location, and the Most High had you there as undercover. You were an undercover agent. You were placed in a situation of severe, lowly, humbling situation, okay? But it was temporary. Everything was purposeful of what you have suffered. You were in a situation of deep need, and in order for you to ascend, you've had to be placed in a position of extreme lowly, humbling, and those individuals were being tested. Not only you were being tested, but of your radical divine obedience, but those individuals around you were being tested of how they were going to treat you when you were already in desperate need. Okay? Hallelujah. This word is quite difficult to provide because I need to give you a recap of the dreams I received for chapter 70, part 1, in order for you to understand this prophetic word. Hallelujah. So bear with me because you can't miss this prophetic word. This has a lot to do with your promotion. This has a lot to do with an attack on the enemy. Okay? So this is the prophetic word of a woman in complete surprise, surrounded by a bunch of balloons. And the title of this is Humility, Maidservant, Ruth and Boaz. So you are placed in a situation just as Ruth was, where she had just lost her husband, and she was traveling to Bethlehem with Naomi, basically with nothing, just the clothes that they had on their bodies, okay? And you're going to be in a situation similar to that, where you're in need and you have no way of paying your way through, and so you're having to work for service. In referencing this story of Ruth, she had to work for some grain because Naomi and her didn't have anything. Naomi came across some inheritance with a humbling little home, but other than that, Ruth decided to go out to the fields, and she happened to be placed in Boaz's fields to glean the fields. You know what that means? She wasn't even an employee. She was the one amongst others, a few others, who went after the ones that actually collected the grain. She was in the group that wasn't even an employee and had been gathering the leftovers. So picking up scraps. And the scraps that she would be able to collect are the ones that she could bundle up and take home so that they could make grain and they could eat. That's how humbling of a situation that the Most High placed you in. And you have been living that for quite some months now. And it was all purposeful. So, and you were willing and able. Okay? You were happy to do so because you were so grateful for the opportunity to at least have something. Okay? So, the same for this woman. She had to volunteer for service, okay, at a clinic. And she had to clean and take out weeds and do some yard work. And she really had the heart to want to give back. And she would she would go out of her way and provide more than what they stated, okay? Giving free gifts and kindness. But it was not received well, sadly. There was an individual there. There was a couple individuals there that influenced others and put her in bad light. And had received some arbitrary treatment, okay? And all of this mischief was occurring behind the scenes. And it was quite literally breaking her heart, but she wanted to be there to fulfill the divine assignment that the Most High sent her to do. All the while trying to be in the proximity of Boaz, to be available. Okay? But the true Boaz that's going to be your kinsman redeemer is going to notice you are more than just a gleaner of the fields. Okay? Because for the story of Ruth, she did have a runner-up, and he was the only one speaking poorly of her and did not want to receive her and take the inheritance that she had of her late husband that passed away. So that's when Boaz stepped in, and he was willing to take on that role. And she selected him. She chose him. And she told Boaz she chose him. So you may be in a situation where you have stated to your Boaz, I choose you. Okay? You've done the part where the Most High stated to give a letter and express some compliments and or insights of your feelings. You've done the part where the Most High told you to express your dire straits situation. You checked off the list where the Most High told you to glean in his fields as most as you could, just as Ruth did. Okay? But the last part that was needed was for Boaz to stand up for you. The last part that was needed was for Boaz to stand up for you from the individual who was speaking poorly of Ruth. He was the only one. All the other people saw her as gracious and had favor of the king. Okay? All the other individuals saw her light and were admiring her and saw she was an honorable woman. Okay? But it takes your Boaz, your true Boaz, to notice that you have the Joseph mantle. Without you stating bluntly, I am in undercover. I'm actually a princess in real life. You can't say that. You know what I'm saying? He needs to discover who you really are without you blatantly stating who you are. And so throughout this journey, the Most High has then stalled, then restrained your Boaz from coming after you, from pursuing you, due to him going astray and opening the door to a different religious approach that was not gratifying to the Most High. Okay? And he's had to make a change. And you will know by the elaboration of this dream. So I'm going to give you a prophetic word given to me on 11/27/2025 that manifested in May, and we're now in August, coming full circle. Okay? And then I'm going to give you a prophetic word that was given to me in July. And the next steps of what the Most High wants you to do. Allah, 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 Allah. Shallah, shallah, shallah. Shallah, 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 shallah. Shallah. So he's saying, Amati, which means in token of humility, maid servant, you're going to have to be placed grazing the fields, gleaning the fields, in a situation that is incredibly humbling. And people are going to look at you like, wow, you don't even have money to pay. Okay, they're going to kind of look at you kind of weird. And you're going to have those vibes of people having pity on you. Okay? And everything is purposeful, so you just have to stay humble. So this woman, she had insurance, but she didn't have insurance that clinic accepted. So this clinic had opportunity to volunteer in order for services, but only one department of service, not the vast resources that they have, which she really needed to get well. Okay, but she took it anyway, because that's what the Most High told her to do. So just like this woman, they weren't hiring, but she took the job anyway. Ruth did, because she needed to bring food for her and Naomi. They were in severe poverty. Okay? So there she is, giving it her best. And there's a Boaz that noticed Ruth. Same here. And this Boaz immediately wants to marry her. So let's jump into the dream. I saw this woman had walked into a huge building and was required to do a debrief meeting. And she was interacting with a lady, two individuals. And they were getting coffee at the beverage station. But like I said earlier, there's going to be about 2 individuals that are sort of going to be part of this situation where they're causing a bit of havoc. Okay? And preventing, in real life, this woman had 2 individuals that were a bit jealous of her and were envious, and they were just worried of her bright light shining and maybe taking over their positions or something, and wanted to dim her light by preventing her from coming in a consistent manner to this clinic. But if she didn't attend that clinic, then she wouldn't be in view and interacting with her Boaz, her apparent Boaz, okay? So there's a debrief that's going to happen. So in other words, she had to volunteer several times. And she had to try to make moments to volunteer. So she had brought some free gifts and had brought some beautiful flowers and had brought some gifts and treats that everybody enjoyed. Okay? And everybody was seeing how gracious and kind she was, except for these 2 jealous ladies that were there. And so, even though in the dream she had given a praise to this one lady who had received a position with the company that she was waiting for a very long time to be hired, and she finally was hired, so she gave her a congratulations. The lady was still snarky, okay? And at first she was welcoming, but it was not sincere. Okay, you're going to interact with people that are not sincere, and it's all purposeful. I know it's going to hurt very bad, and I just want to share that I'm very sorry that they treated you that way. I'm very sorry that you're going to have to go through something in order to elevate, and that something that you're going through is like humiliation and rejection and neglect. And you're going to feel like no one sees you. You're going to feel like you don't belong. You're going to feel like it's hurting too much. Like you might feel a lot of anxiety as you are trying to give it your best. You're trying to show. It might be quite a bit of a drive, a distance, what you're doing as well, okay? But all the more, you are there for a reason and for a purpose. This is for your elevation. And some of you are already gone through this, and I want to explain what you just went through. It wasn't in vain. All of that suffering, all of that pain, all of that rejection, and all of that defamation of character was not in vain. Okay, so the dream goes, then she looked over at the other person. She couldn't see their face. But she started sharing, saying, I'm so happy with my pension and my retirement income that I have upon leaving my position. And these two women that were snarky ended up being shook and all the more jealous of her expertise, okay, and of her established retirement income, okay? She's not at the age to retire, but she's saying that she has something planned out for the future. So she doesn't understand why, in order to leave this position, she has to keep coming to these debrief meetings. And there was about 5. So you're going to be doing some some volunteer work. You know, quite a bit of sessions, maybe 5 to 10 sessions of volunteer work, okay? And anyways, in the dream, this woman wanted to leave early. So she got up and she told one of the ladies that she's needing to leave early because she thought there was only one meeting, and she gave her a voucher, and now she is to go get food, and there goes the services received while she's doing the debrief with the food, okay? And she walked out the hallway, and it kind of looked like a university, and she found the cafeteria, and she saw that they had broccoli cheddar soup with a toasted French bread, and it looked very tasty. And the people behind the counter said that she could take it, it was free. So she gave the voucher to that individual, and she saw a sign that said 1:55 is lunchtime. And they said, I'll see you tomorrow. And she's like, was surprised. She's like, what do you mean? She's like, there is a 5-day series and you will be back tomorrow. So everything is purposeful again. And although people are going to be not treating you very well, they're not going to be friendly. Although they look friendly, they're being friendly to other people around you. It's not going to be friendly towards you, sadly to say. Even though you were the one in need and giving of service, and an employee, and being an employee that receives free services for your volunteer work. So then she says, I don't need closure. I don't want to do the 5-day debrief. I want out, and I don't want to look back. Suddenly, she walks out the 4 glass doors. She walks out of these doors that have panels of windows and 2 glass doors. And she's trying to find the exit. She's trying to leave. And someone says that she needs to go through the other door. So she enters a room having the soup and bread in her hand. And she has like a backpack or a purse. And upon entering the room, there were many pink and red heart balloons. And it's filled the room. And it was decorated with love signs and lovely flowers. Okay? And there were many people sitting at the bar counter. It looked, that counter in the dream looked to be like stainless steel rails, like kind of like the 1950s style counter for like an ice cream shop or something. So behind her were several tables, and many people that she didn't know was there, and there was a surprise for someone. The ordained spouse walks in, and he is going to make an announcement. Everyone was there and knew which announcement he was going to make. I know if you watch this video, you're going through it again, but I really need you to pay attention, because this is really happening in real life now in the month of August through September, which I'm recording it now. Okay? Because you've already lived that other piece, and now this piece is going to occur. So stay tuned, please. I don't want you to miss your divine moment. So this woman walks, back in the dream, this woman walks over to him and asks him, would you fight someone off if they were attacking me, grabbing me, or would you shy away and get scared and leave me to it? And he said he would get scared and he doesn't want to fight. And he also looked to be a bit shorter and skinny. Okay? And in this moment, you've already lived this piece as well, where something alarming was occurring in your life, and you had expressed that to your ordained spouse, that was supposed to be your ordained spouse, the potential king, okay? And he didn't give you the answer that you really needed to hear. You know, it kind of almost felt that you would still have to handle the whole entire situation by yourself, without any avenue of assistance from him outside of that appointment or moment in time. This part of the dream is, again, confirming this woman already lived this piece. Okay? You want someone to be brave enough to defend you and protect you. You want to feel protected and secure. Which probably, you know, caused her to want to scurry away and not stay with it for the debrief. Because she was already getting vibes of him possibly not being that protector, defender of the level that she needed. Now, again, the part of him looking shorter and skinny, that it doesn't mean that the individual potential king was going to look that way. Okay? In real life. It could mean that that is his mental state of his level of confidence. Okay? And we're doing a debrief in itself right now, even though the Most High has expressed in the prior chapters what's going on, because there's more revelations of the continuation of this whole entire dream. There's two dreams. This is critical because the following portion of this dream is the surprise. There's a surprise coming to you in your real life in the month of August through September. Quite literally, you need to be prepared. Okay, so right here it says, she looks up and sees a bundle of balloons and some streamers, pink streamers that are spread about. Someone next to her says, are you ready for him to reveal? So, in other words, you're getting ready to leave the location where you have been volunteering of your services, or in a location where you've been humbled. It could have been a workplace, and you were the only job that was available was something that was you could do those skills, but it's not showing off your skills quite a bit. It's kind of hindering, and it's humbling. Okay, let's say you are trained to be the CEO, but they put you as the janitor. Or let's say you're trained to be the top chef, but they put you as the cleaner, the busser. Okay? So that's what I'm trying to say here. You were purposely placed in a position because, just like Ruth, he needs to see you close proximity, because that's when he comes to the rescue. Okay? So in other words, she is ready to just end it and not do any more debriefs. Okay? Because it's almost humiliating in order to keep attending, because those ladies are not being welcoming at all, and it's giving off this negative vibes that's causing her to feel like she's in survival mode when she is ready to start fresh somewhere else. Okay? Yet she was prompted to go into the next room after walking through those glass doors. Walking through the glass doors has a lot to do with windows and revelation of divine revelation. Now, everyone knows how this man feels about her, and they are all there for the reveal. So somehow or another, people are finding out just by the interactions of you two of how much this person cares about you and loves you. Okay? And this could extend towards other places, not just that particular location. Because in that gathering, there was many people there. So somehow or another, either by just watching you two interact or him communicating the way he communicates to others, it sounds like he's interested in you. So people are starting to put the pieces together. Okay? Or maybe you're verbalizing details that sound like there's something going on past a acquaintance relationship, a professional relationship. Okay? And so she's just sitting there, nonchalantly, and he's looking worried, honestly. He's looking anxious. This is the part right here where you're actually living right now, okay? So I could feel in the dream that this individual really wants this woman to like how he looks, to be attracted to him. And he's not sure that she is. Something occurred where he's not sure. Because remember that she left? She's like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to be here anymore. I don't want to do debrief. I just want to go. Right? So that where you have stated that you're just going to go, there's something that you have done recently where you have verbalized your feelings, and then you told the individual, if this does not evolve into something more concrete and, like going somewhere, that you're going to leave. But not just leave and come back later. You probably just won't come back at all. And I know you're thinking, wow, you maybe shouldn't put that much pressure and you shouldn't state the facts. But if the Most High told you, you gotta leave for a bit and come back later, or you got to make your feelings clear, and that person is just not taking action, you can't wait forever. Okay? The Boaz needs to recognize your Joseph mantle. You know what that means, Joseph mantle? He needs to get you out of the dungeon that you've been in. He needs to recognize your talents and gifts. Just like Pharaoh recognized Joseph, even though he was just coming out of the pit, through his talents and gifts. Okay? There are people out there that you're going to look, not the part, but people are going to see through the first layer, And they're going to see who you really are. And they're going to elevate you without you completely spilling the beans of who you are. So same here. The true Boaz, just like the story of Ruth and Boaz, the true one lifted her up and married her. Didn't just say, yeah, she's in a pitiful state, so is Naomi, and okay, sorry for them, and then just leaves it be. He knows he's the kinsman redeemer, and he has to take action, right? If not, then it's somebody else. Okay, now listen. So he's anxious and worried. Why is he worried? Because he wants her to like him. And now he's not completely sure because she kind of left and then she came back for a minute. And he has a surprise. Okay, so she's surprised that he didn't know how she felt about him. She thought she was making it obvious. Okay? So everyone is still there hanging about, and he walks in and he says, I've known this for a year or a week now, that I want her and I love her. So all this time he's been keeping it hush hush. He's been giving them subliminal signals. He's been giving obvious signals. And then right when she thinks, okay, this is a good clue, he backs up. He backs up so much that to the point that then it's confusing. So it's almost like he's acting like a anxious and avoidant, and or fearful and avoidant, which is all the more confusing and heartbreaking for her. So she's getting tired of that. She's getting tired of that non-bravery. So that's why he's getting worried that she's gotten too tired. You know? And of course, you've been going through a process. He's been going through a process of healing. But you're not in charge of healing the person. The Most High is. Okay? So I guess that's the part where he's anxious, that he's not sure if she's still interested because there's been some time apart where she took a step back. Okay? Because at the time it's hurting too much, and the Most High told her she needs to take a step back. Okay? So now everyone is there, and now that year or a week, that is symbolic. So I'll break that down as well. He gathers these balloons and he walks over to the left side, if you recall, and then he says with a sign which she couldn't read, I couldn't read and she couldn't read until she got closer, but I'm assuming it's saying, will you marry me? Okay? So, I mean, these people haven't even started dating yet, and he's already putting up a sign that he wants to marry her. This is what I'm trying to tell you. So you've been interacting with somebody, just like Ruth and Boaz, they weren't even dating. They were not dating at all. She would just go to that job site, she would glean the fields, she would go back home, he would show some favor, show some sweetness, you know, let her sit with the co-workers, just like this woman here. She's amongst the co-workers, his co-workers, you know. And suddenly Boaz, with the story of Ruth in the Bible, all of a sudden, you know, they have a moment at the threshing floor, and she tells him she chooses him, right, to be her kinsman redeemer. And then what happens is he's so happy that she chose him, but he takes action right away. In this story right here, there's time, this story in the dream, there's time where she just wanted to leave already because of the way she was being treated. It was so humiliating and rejecting. Okay? Anyway, you could be dealing with something similar to that. That's why I want to bring this up. And so in the moment, he suddenly says it out loud. So in real life now, this person is going to come in your life, and he says those words, "Will you marry me?" In front of everybody. In front of everybody that he knows and that you guys know. And there's a lot of people that you don't know that is showing up in that meeting. And this woman, she goes through the crowd of people, and she wants to answer in an intimate, private fashion. And she looks at his eyes, and she puts her arms around his shoulders and says a sincere, confident yes. She kissed him, and it was a firm kiss, and she meant it. And it was a firm kiss, not a passionate kiss. Okay? And that matters in itself. That's symbolic. Even though he was kind of skinny and kind of shorter than her in the dream, which means he was lacking confidence and bravery and strength in real life. Okay? She still said yes. She still chose him. So this is the part that you've already lived, where you stated you chose him. Okay? Right here is where you're still living right now. Then I wake up from the dream, and now there's a new dream right away. Fall asleep again, and there's a new dream. She goes to the university for a debrief. This woman doesn't stay at the meeting. She says she goes to the cafeteria and gets the food. And she didn't eat the food, she just carried it. And she walked out, and now she's in the same room. It looks like the same lobby diner with the many tables and chairs around. And the ordained spouse walks in, and now he has dyed his hair black. That's symbolic in itself. He looks taller, and he looks muscular, and he is really antsy. But this is the part you're living now. I know I said that before, but several of you are going through this stage, these stages, and it's occurring in these weeks, okay? If not already. And she's sitting next to a man with gray hair and the mother of the potential king ordained spouse. And she says, oh, he dyed his hair. So dyeing your hair in a dream has a lot to do with a new mindset, okay? And she was reflecting on that, and she's excited because she recalls having a dream of the individual ready for her to work on a project together, and he had his hair, black hair, okay? So he had dyed it because it was originally a lighter color. So then, now she walks towards him again, and she realizes, oh, he is my spouse, my husband to be now. And he was on the left side, and walked to him and reached her arms and put them around his neck and said, oh, you dyed your hair black. Looked just excited, right? Trying to give a compliment. And had a dream, and she told him she had a dream that he dyed his hair. And that part was already lived. And she says, you came to the door to pick me up, and we were going to begin doing a project together. And she said, I really like your hair, but I really liked your hair color from before as well. I like that style as well. When she said, but, he literally went into a panic. And this is what I'm trying to tell you. The whole episode of getting wrecked is happening right now. So chapters 78, 78, 77 is happening right now in the month of August, late July. He suddenly panicked and didn't wait for her to finish her sentence and said, you don't like it, and rushed out. And the man with the white hair said, come on, let's get you a haircut. I know a place. And they both rushed out of that little diner setting. And then she walked out the door to go find and tell him he doesn't have to dye it back, that she really likes it. She likes his new hairstyle. And she saw them walk into a room and looked like a mall setting. So during this time, you went out the door and you have expressed that you enjoy spending time and you like him how he is right now, but there's something that you did like from before, which was probably you had more interaction at the prior place where you guys were spending time together. And you've had more interaction, and it's been quite challenging to have any kind of interaction at this new location where there's volunteer work, because there are some monitoring spirits and some jealous fanatics in the midst that are preventing the connection as well. And you have expressed all of those things that you did not like that was happening. Then you've expressed what you require in order for this relationship to work. And that is okay to set your standards. Because if you've been living on breadcrumbs and you can't survive off of that, it's actually making you feel like your heart is breaking and confusion that you are a person that experienced neglect and abandonment. And then when you only get to see each other once a week for a few minutes, that is not enough for someone to even start healing. Can we just admit it? Yes. It's obvious. It's not gonna sustain a relationship when you hardly communicate and when you hardly spending time. It's obvious, and you can state what you need and want. But he could have twisted the words, okay? And he went into getting wrecked mode, and he crashed out, and he ran out of the room. While all of that is happening to him, you must be still ready for a promotion that's coming. Why? Because you have done your behalf. You have done your piece of humility, your test of humility. Why did you have to go through that? Because there's a reward coming. There's a sacrifice that's needed for that elevation. For that level of extreme elevation, like being raised up like Mordecai, you need to go through a severe humiliation, sadly. So I don't want you to think, oh, because I'm being humbled, because I'm putting in a lowly place, because nobody sees my worth here, because people are rejecting me nonstop, because they're making me feel unworthy. I don't want you to feel those things, though. Okay? I don't want you to feel... It's hard not to feel those things when they keep projecting that energy towards you. They're trying to hide you away. They're trying to prevent you from seeing your potential king ordained spouse. Something is occurring right now in the pivotal moment of your severe despair and sorrow. Okay? And so I don't want you to miss your moment. You need to go through your healing. You're sort of in a situation like Elijah, when he was being attacked by a Jezebel spirit and by an Ahab spirit, the individuals in itself in the Bible, right? And they were threatening to slaughter all of the prophets. And so there was only a few left. I think it was only him that was left. So he got afraid. There was a prophetic word given that Jezebel would be taken out. Ahab would be taken out. Okay? But he got afraid, and he had entered, he just took off. So you're in the moment where you had just removed yourself from the situation, and then you went in hiding, in isolation, and he went into the cave, just in deep despair, just grieving. for plans not working out the way he thought they were going to work out, and feeling attacked. Okay, there's a purpose for this. Suddenly, something's going to happen though, where he gained him some strength. The Most High had an angel come and assist him, and gave him the strength, and brought some food. Have these crows bring some food for him, and he gathered his strength, and he was praying in prayer. You're in the moment right now, gathering your strength back after severe grieving and sorrow. Okay? And the Most High is going to have you come back. And that's when Jezebel is taken down. And so is Ahab. Okay. So, now, during this time in the dream, this woman was a new scene, and she had joined a group with people that she knew from the past that were kind to her. And she looks over, and suddenly the potential king, ordained spouse, was in the meeting. He didn't get a haircut. He didn't change his hair color. He still was black. And suddenly he was panicking again, doing a crash out once again, getting wrecked. Okay? And he ran inside a huge soda can box structure. People were standing on the mount. And he had ran into it, and it had all collapsed. Everything had collapsed. And this woman's in the meeting, but she looked from a distance and anticipated to run towards him, okay, to assist him. But as she could see that he hasn't come up for air in a while, so she did run. And the guy with the gray hair was trying to pull him up and kind of find him, but she couldn't find him. And they were trying to move the boxes from the bottom to dig him out. Somehow, this woman had strength, supernatural strength. And she had these long arms that she hadn't even reached the pile of soda can structure, but her arms reached and were pulling the boxes out as she was still running and catching up to her arms. The length of her arms, like the elongated man from Flash, the private detective. Remember, he had that supernatural power. Okay, so something along the lines. And she pulled 3 boxes out before she even got close to where he was at, and they were kind of heavy. So he was inside the mound of soda can structure, but she still couldn't see him. So now the scene changed again. She saw a group of chairs and saw, like, they're amongst like sitting in the hallway of a mall setting, having a meeting. And there she sees the fellow workers that she had known from before. And suddenly, the potential king, ordained spouse, was in the meeting, and he had pulled himself out. I guess she assisted with removing some of the boxes, okay? And that means supernatural strength. She's praying for him. But somehow he made it out. And this woman looks at her nails and she says, I need to cut my nails short, because she's going to be working. And he was going to be working as well at the same location. Okay? But he says a comment. So in that moment, she is getting promoted to a position. This is critical right here. With all that commotion occurring, somebody is going to promote you and notice that you are having the Joseph mantle. Okay? Which are in the prophetic words that Pharaoh notices Joseph. And this occurs in the month of August and September. I'm recording this in early August. That is why you need to stay tuned. Okay, so suddenly he doesn't share his feelings. All he says is, you're going to get paid more than me. Almost in a jealous manner. Almost in an envious. And so that's what occurred to me, to think that she was going to receive a huge promotion, upgrade in her life. Because he already has a position that is like really way up there. Okay? And so in the dream, she was kind of shocked. How is she going to get paid more if she is just coming into the position and he already has a really high doctorate position? Do you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to give you an example to that level. That's what I'm saying here. So she begins to chat to these new partners of her retirement and her savings, or some kind of income that she already has established for the future. And that's when I learned something else in the dream, that there's a promotion coming with a lot of abundance, quite a bit, like enormous. This is why this potential king or ordained spouse individual was kind of envious. Okay, because one of the other employees that she was going to work with had stated that $50,000 is already given. He had a whiteboard and he was making some calculations. Now, recalling the number 50 of a reset, a divine financial reset of financial burdens being forgiven. Okay? And land being returned, a start over, a reset. That was in the prior prophetic word. And it seemed that she was going to work at this location. And what I noticed in the moment is that she didn't have any more pain. That's why she was able to start work again. Okay? So suddenly the potential king, ordained spouse person stated, you get paid $30-38 an hour. You get paid more than me. But he said it in a tone that he felt sad. And he felt kind of envious. Okay? And that's when the moment came where she stated, how do I get paid more than him if he's the one that has like higher credentials than her? And he has way more skills in this department than she ever has, because she's just coming into it. So I want to talk about the number 3038, Yeduthan, which means spiritual inspired proclamation, thanksgiving, and worship. You're going to get your breakthrough through praise and worship. Okay? It's someone that is skilled in music and creating, is a musician, is a chief musician, according to Psalms 39:1. To the chief musician, even to Yeduthan, as Psalms of David, I said, I will take heed to my ways, that I sin not with my tongue. I will keep my mouth with a bridle while the wicked is before me. That is another key factor. There are wicked people near you, and you need to not talk smack back. Okay? Because the Most High is chiming in this hour to defend you. Now, the other thing is, be careful, because people are coming back to you, but are they coming back to you with true intentions? Or are they coming to you because they are envious of your promotion? Okay? Or, in other words, are they going to come with assisting you to get promoted? Or are they coming back to you because they don't want someone else to promote you. Do you know what I'm saying? They want to be the one to promote you, and they're getting envious that somebody else stepped it in and noticed your Joseph mantle and promoted you before that they ever did. And are they going to be busy still sulking, or are they going to shape up and finally be the person that you need them to be in your life? Or is the individual who promoted you the one to establish you and the one to be the ordained spouse? Okay? Because right here what I'm noticing is she 50K is already given. It stated that in the dream. That means that she is granted that year of Jubilee blessing. Why? Because within that established fifth Jubilee, it has a lot to do with 20 years of service. She completed 20 years of service when the Most High put her in that position to volunteer. He placed her in a predicament that would allow her to be on the receiving end of this grand blessing. Somebody is coming and granting her all of this abundance, and then she's gonna continue to get paid more. How is she gonna get paid more than this other individual? How would that even happen unless someone else is coming in with and sharing these roles that puts her not as a regular worker, but also as a co-founder almost. Does that make sense? Because there's no other way that she could ever make more money than this person. The only way that she could make money more than this person is if she's now the co-founder. How did she get there if that's not her entitled business? Because someone rose her up, and he's disappointed that it was not him. Does that make sense? Okay. So let's go real quickly now to 7/26/2026 Revelations. And the Most High says, Amashi, Amashi. Okay? Which means Heavenly Master. It also refers to a defensive strategy or technique of stepping back or making distance to let an opponent's attack miss and then landing a strike, a counter attack. That's what it means. So right now that you have taken a step back, you have delivered your message of departing. Okay? That put him in getting wrecked, crashing out. Even though he's silent right now, and you're like, I don't hear a peep out of this individual. You could see in the spiritual realm with this vision that it's not been okay. It's not been okay. But he's still staying silent when it's not okay. And instead of making things known and clear, he just got envious. Okay? So Amasei meaning it means burdensome. It means a warrior in chief of the captains of Judah and Benjamin who joined David at Ziklag, a Kohathite, Levite, father of Mahath. So it references 1 Chronicles 12:18. Then the Spirit came upon Amasai, who was the chief of the 30. And he said, "We are yours, O David, and with you, O son of Jesse. Peace, peace to you, and peace to him who helps you. Indeed, your Yahuwah helps you." Then David received them and made them captains of the band. Captains of the band. Does that make sense? So you're going in, and you're not going to be regular employee. You're going to be like a captain. You're going to be like head leader. That's why you're going to get paid more than the individual. Because you're going to be like Pharaoh's right-hand man. Does that make sense? So, there's a little note here. The Levites arose. Now it's talking about 2 Chronicles 29. 2 Chronicles 29:12 commentary, whose names are mentioned of the Kohanites, to Mahath the son of Amasai, and Joel the son of Azariah of the Merarites, to Kesh the son of Abdi, and Azariah the son of Jehalelel of the Goshenites, to Joah the son of Zimmah, and Eden the son of Joah, and the family of Elzaphan, a Kohathite, to Shimri and Jehiel of the family of Asaph, and one of the chief singers in the times of David, to Zechariah and Mattaniah, and of the family of Herman, another principal singer in the same times, to Jeiel, Shimi, and of the family of Jeduthun, the third principal singer, the same with Ethan, to Shemaiah, and Uziel, and all 14. 1 Chronicles 15:24, Shebaniah, Joshaphat, Nethanel, Amasai, Zechariah, Benaiah, Eliezer, the priest, blew the trumpets before the ark of Yahuwah. Obed, Edom, and Jehiah also were gatekeepers for the ark. Second Chronicles 29:12. Then the Levites arose, which I explained in the commentary. So in other words, there was a time frame of downcast, feeling quite the grief and sorrow. Okay? That you've been going through. And maybe you've been going through it for more than a month, for several months, and something felt off. Okay? So now you are a Levite. Why is the Most High bringing up the Kohanites? Because those are the Levites. Those are the divine priests. And he's calling you to arise. He has been already downloading melodies. Okay? So in other words, the key word here is amashai, which means having to step back, making distance. Right now, you are creating some distance. You had to. But it's purposeful. Because now, the opponents are going to miss. Okay? And then that's when there's going to be a strike back. And it's going to land. There's a defensive strategy that the Most High is having you do at this time. So, Amashi has a few different meanings depending on the context and origin. In martial arts, it's kendo. It refers to a defensive strategy, to a technique, or stepping back or making distance to let an opponent's attack miss, then landing a strike. In board games, it refers to a whole game, territory-oriented strategy where a player allows their opponent to gain influence. Right now, as you had to allow the two ladies to gain some influence against you. They had been putting your name in poor light, okay? They have been influencing so that you could not be your authentic self, and or they were not being the same. There was some arbitrary treatment. There was some rejection and some non-friendly, okay? Not treated the same, okay? So now this territory-oriented strategy where players allows their opponent to gain influence or take big points, hoping to outlast and gain a stronger profit in return. And it also means Heavenly Master. Generally represents strength and leadership, okay? So right now, the promotion that is coming for you is not necessarily at the same location where you have been volunteering. That was just purposeful for you to do in order to be eligible for the promotion. Okay? You're going to come across somebody such as that of the butler, who knows you, who knows Pharaoh, and is back in Pharaoh's good graces, and then shares your skills to him where he's going to be in great need of your services. Okay? So right now, the Most High has you do some switches. He has you do some switches, okay? He wants you to know that he has your back. And he's going to open the door where it needs to be open for your promotion. Even though where the door seems to be slammed shut and not available, he's going to create it to be opened again for you. And you're going to walk through that door. Okay? Now I want to read this. Gleaning the fields in Bethlehem. The woman faced severe poverty. To survive, Ruth went to the barley harvest fields to glean, gather leftover grain dropped by the harvesters. By chance, she ended up in the fields of a wealthy, honorable man named Boaz, who was a close relative to Naomi's late husband. Boaz noticed Ruth's dedication to Naomi and instructed his workers to intentionally leave extra grain for her to find safely. Your Boaz is going to notice how generous and kind you are to others, how sweet you are to other people. Okay? And that is where you're going to be at right now. You're going to be gracious and kind. That's how he's going to recognize you, as he's recognized you before. Okay? The threshing floor. Proposal. As the harvest ended, Naomi realized Boaz was a kinsman redeemer, a family member responsible for taking care of and marrying a widowed relative to keep the family line going. Following Naomi's advice, Ruth approached Boaz late at night at the threshing floor and uncovering his feet and requesting that he redeem her family and marry her. Impressed by her noble character and loyalty, Boaz agreed, but noted there was another relative closer in line. Legal redemption and legacy. That the next morning, Boaz went to the city gates and met with the two elders and the closer relative. When the closer relative declined to marry Ruth to protect his own estate, Boaz finalized the transaction by removing a sandal as a binding legal contract. Boaz and Ruth married, and she gave birth to a son named Obed. This child became the grandfather of King David, directly placing Ruth and Boaz in the ancestral line of Yahusha. Okay, so what's going on is somebody is closer in line, has almost first dibs, pretty much, okay? Which Boaz, your true Boaz, already knows that somebody was probably into you prior. Okay? Could have been the potential king, ordained spouse. So that's why it looks like two are going to be coming for you. Okay? But you got to pay attention to what intentions are they coming for you. Is it so that the other person doesn't take you? Or is it because they really want you? Okay, because in this story, it looks like somebody he could save his own inheritance if he takes Ruth to be his wife, but he didn't want to see her in that way. He still was stuck on she's a Moabite, even though she rejected those deities that the Moabites worshipped, and she took on the deity of Israel, which is Yahuwah. She saw that she's widowed and poor, and he saw pity in her and didn't see her as royalty. He didn't see her as the royal line. He didn't see her as a queen or as a princess. He didn't see her as the Joseph's mantle. He saw her as someone that is barely making it in life. He didn't see the great potential that she could become with someone that would be brave and stand up. So that's what the dream kind of entailed. It looks like he got envious and jealous that someone else rose her up and she became a captain. And now he's envious and couldn't believe that that could have been his life with her. Now it's too late. Do you see what I mean? Because she's already established. She's already established with somebody.
Did I touch your foot?
Now, the part about the lunch at 1:55 in the dream. There's a crash out. In regard to the crash out that he is having, you had said your standards, right? And what you require. And you require protection, you require security, you require devotion. And prior to that, you had put just boundaries, which the individual was very, very much in sorrow. Now, they could arise to the occasion, or they could just stay in sulk mode. But they are very afraid that the individual, there's people in your life that are going to help you make it work. They're going to see that you are worthy without you explaining it and begging. You don't need to beg. They were supposed to see you. Okay? There is something that you were doing and reassuring the person without them providing reassurance to you. And their insecurities, which we're recalling, he was skinny and shorter in the dream, and running off into a soda can structure has a lot to do with man-made, established. Okay, it could also have a lot to do with the philosophy that the individual goes by, the DeMartini philosophy. Okay, which, if you dig deeper into the background, has a lot to do with deities, evil spirits, demon spirits, deities, Thort, and the Golden Flash. All right. And it all revolves around the secret. When you dig deeper, it revolves around Freemasonry. Okay, so then when one depends on other ideologies that are not biblical, okay, that are not from the Most High's commandments and covenants, teachings, it starts to crumble. Their plans start to crumble beneath. Okay? So in other words, somebody mishandled you. And not just one, it could have been several. It could have been several that mishandled you. It mishandled the safety and security that you needed. Okay? And although everybody knows how this individual feels about you, the actual Boaz also knows this. It has some inkling. That's why he had to check in. Just like Boaz in the biblical story checked in with the other individual, say, are you going to take on this marriage or not? Okay? Because the actual Boaz, the Pharaoh that recognizes you, is actually all in. The one that recognizes Joseph. And they put you on a high hill. They put you as captain. That person put you as captain. Okay, so I want to reflect on the number 155, the lunchtime, which are all the more confirming of why you're going to be placed as a leader. Let me get into the Strong's Hebrew number 155 is the word adereth, which means mantle, cloak, or glory. Hallelujah. It also means adir, which is the feminine root word, adder, meaning ample, majestic, or glorious. It's meaning mantle or cloak. There's a mantle upon your life. So it's the prophet's outer garment, such as the hairy mantle of Elijah. Elijah, he's comparing you, he's giving you the mantle of Elijah, the Most High. And somebody on this earth is going to recognize that mantle. And there's a splendor, there's a glory that's emanating from you. That's why these wicked people around you, that's why these wicked people could not handle your light and treated you as such. But that was the test. And it was your test to follow through all the way through, even though it hurt so much. And you did your part. So it means wide or flowing, glory or splendor, magnificence or glory of things like a spreading vine or a shepherd's wailing. So it's basically a promotion that's coming. There's a promotion coming your way. Shalom.